Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. It is a monumental verdict by the Allahabad High Court in the Gyanvapi title dispute case. The Allahabad High Court turned down all the 5 petitions from the Muslim Paksh challenging the Hindus' plea to worship at the Gyanvapi Parisar. 2 petitions were against the maintainability of a 1991 civil suit filed by the Hindu worshippers, and 3 pleas were against the ASI survey order. The Allahabad High Court ruled that the Gyanvapi civil suits were not barred by the Places of Worship Act 1991 and said that the Gyanvapi compound can either have a Muslim character or a Hindu character, and directed the trial court to expeditiously decide the suit within 6 months. Let's try and decode this order further. And let's try and find out why the court said that the Places of Worship Act is actually not a hurdle. So Gyanvapi is not chained by the Places of Worship Act. Why? The Act clearly defines conversion and place of worship. Religious character has not been defined under the Act. Religious could only be decided by facts. Place cannot have dual religious character at the same time. Gyanvapi compound has either a Hindu character or a Muslim one. Adjudication is required to arrive at the finding of the actual original religious character of this place. No conclusion can be reached on the basis of framing preliminary issue of law. Relief sought by the plaintiffs is not of converting any place of worship. Declaration has been sought as to the religious character. The High Court order is a big win, ladies and gentlemen, for the Hindu Paksh and the right to pray for Hindus of the country to their Ishtadev or deity. Let's take a look at this key takeaways from this verdict. What it does is it boosts the legal fight of the Hindu Paksh in claiming the seat of Baba Adi Vishweshwar or Kashi Vishwanath. Trial to proceed on the 1991 suit filed by the Hindu Paksh. Places of Worship Act is not a hurdle in the case has been said. The Muslim Paksh's contention has been totally rejected, and the trial on the Hindus' right to pray to be completed in 6 months by the Varanasi court is what's been said. The verdict will impact disputes in other places of worship too. More importantly, the question or the aspect that remains is, one place cannot have 2 religious characters. It can either be this or that. It cannot be both. And to determine this, it has to be done in a scientific manner, and the original religious character has to be established. So Gyanvapi not chained by the Places of Worship Act is the first question that we ask tonight.
Hello, Moto.
Hari Shankar Jain ji, lawyer from the Hindu Paksh with us, Ishkaran Bhandari, senior lawyer with us, Anand Ranganathan, author, political commentator with us, Ahmed Ayaz, political analyst, and Mazhar Sharif, AIMIM leader with us. Namaste, Jai Hind to all the panelists. Thank you very much for joining us this evening on The Right Stand. Hari Shankar Jain ji, this 1991 suit, there is a connection to you directly, so let me ask you, how do you see the verdict of the Allahabad High Court?
Yes. I welcome the verdict, and is very correct and according to law. In the verdict, it is specifically stated that it can't have 2 characters, either the Hindu temple or a mosque. And the havoc created by Muslims, place of worship and havoc, that has come to an end. Unnecessary Muslims and some media persons, they were propagating the place of worship as a bar. Whereas place of worship is not a bar. Actually, place of worship is the religious character. And what is the religious character of a particular property, that can be decided only on the basis of evidence. Number 1. Number 2, once you say it is a mosque, you have to prove that it was a waqf. Waqf was created. Without establishing that it was a waqf, and it was created, waqf was created, you can't have a mosque. There can be no mosque, then there is no waqf. And when waqf is there, you will have to prove that the property belongs to Waqif, that the person who dedicated the property to Almighty. Here, nothing. There is nothing like that. It is proved in evidence. They will have ample opportunity to prove their case, and I think that main hurdle, the suit cannot be tried. It is vanished now, and the core question will remain as to whether the present structure was constructed after demolishing a Hindu temple. That is the core question, and that has to be decided by the court. Suppose it is found that the Hindu temple was demolished, then there can be no mosque. We can't presume any mosque at the place which belongs to the deity. Over deity's property, no Allah can be there. Simple, in simple words. Either is the deity or Allah, but can't be both. So once it is prior in time, the test will be who was prior in time. If Hindu temple was prior in time and was demolished, then it will not assume the character of any mosque, so-called mosque, and the present structure that was raised after Aurangzeb Farman in 1669. And lastly, the temple had been constructed by Narayan Bhatt sometimes in 1680-85. There is ample evidence to that effect. And I may tell you one thing more. The Honorable Supreme Court in 1997, 4 SCC page 606, Justice Ramaswamy has given a history and is held. He has held that this construction was raised after demolishing Hindu temple. So we have to prove it. And once it is proved that temple was demolished, the Muslims will have no case, and the court has paved the way for hearing. They wanted that it should be rejected the threshold. That is gone. That is not there.
So one of the aspects of Harishankar Jain was that about the Places of Worship Act applicable or not. The other aspect was on maintainability. Now, what has the court said as far as the maintainability of the entire suit by the Hindu side is concerned? 711 was being
invoked. Their main plea. Their main plea is 711 that his suit is barred by Place of Worship Act. Court has ruled that is not barred by Place of Worship Act. It has to be tried, and religious character has to be determined by the court. There is a very categorical finding.
So now how will that be done? But does that mean again it leans on the ASI report? Does that mean the 1,000-page docket that has been submitted on another matter, does that get related to this?
That is related to this, and that report will be read in this case also, and all the Hindu Paks, in all the cases, that report will be considered. And that report is one of the aspects, and we will prove that report as well as our case by oral and documentary evidence. The time will come. Let the time will come. And
but the Muslim Paksha is arguing that report should be kept confidential. It should be kept sealed. Now, does today's Allahabad High Court verdict then add muscle to the 21st hearing where you are going to argue that it should be made public?
Yes. ASI has acted against the order of the Honorable Supreme Court. Supreme Court has never said, in his order dated 4th August, he said file the report. File the report. And on the contrary, there was a proposal by the Muslim side that it should be kept secret. It should be in sealed cover. Court said no, rejected that aspect and said on 4th August in its hearing, court rejected that plea and said let the report be filed. You will file objection, or any party which agreed may file objection. And Order 26, Rule 9 and 10 also say, lays down that any party agreed with the report may file objection. It is possible only when a report is given. Number 2, in the latest judgment today, the Honorable High Court has said that report will be read in this case also. So certainly it can't be kept in sealed cover. It can't be. It can't remain intact. It has to be opened and has to be given copies to the parties, to all the stakeholders.
Harishankar Jain ji, please have a sip of water. Please have a sip of water. I know I'm pushing you with a lot of questions. I'll come back to you, sir. Let me just also bring in some of our other panelists. He's been somebody who's been fighting this for a long time. For nearly about 4 decades, ladies and gentlemen, he has been fighting, and that fight has been carried on by his son Vishnu Jain. So last evening Vishnu Jain was with us. Today Harishankar Jain ji is with us. Let's open this up and we'll go back to Harishankar Jain ji in just a bit. Ahmed Ayaz, how would you respond and how do you look at the court judgment today? You also understand law. So the court has turned around and said that the matter should be legally settled. The religious character must be determined because it's unclear. It cannot be of dual nature.
You see, Mr. Anand, it needs to be understood that there is always a purpose to enact a law. Why has the Religious Places Act been enacted? It was only after it was seen that this is likely to open Pandora boxes and will engage the country into all these temple and mosque issues always, as there must have been changes in the past during 300, 400, 500 years back. Maybe we can't say there must not have been changes. Looking at that aspect, yes, we need to put end to it and bring in Religious Places Act as it and hold it as it existed in 1947. Why was it brought in? It was brought in only to see that it does not crop up in future, and making any bypass of it or ignoring the Religious Places Act for whatever reason will definitely lead to a chaos in future, will open Pandora box today. And it is said that 300 back during Aurangzeb's time there was a temple at Mathura, and the Shahi Eidgah place has been, Mandir was demolished and a mosque is built up. And tomorrow Muslims can come up somewhere else. And also this is not understood why this only happening in mostly in the UP area, when there are Muslims in majority in good percentage, more percentage in other states of the country. Why is it happening only in UP? It does not happen in Maharashtra, it does not happen in Bengal, West Bengal, it does not happen in Assam, it does not happen in Jammu and Kashmir. Why is it happening only in,
Sir,
I mean, see,
sir,
this
the
is,
point is, sir,
this is
the
to me,
places,
this is nothing
there are
but to bring back.
Okay,
No,
please
then my
complete.
point
Please,
is, it
ji.
is only to gain a political mileage out of it. Otherwise, there is no point in reopening issues which stand already settled by virtue of the act passed by the parliament, passed by the government, whoever government was there. It does not mean today there is a government and after 20 years will change the decisions whatever this government has taken. Does it mean that the country has to engage only in these matters?
Okay.
No, to me, my mind, no. We should give rest to this all and respect the Religious Places Act, give rest to all these issues,
But
go
today,
move further, move ahead and go for the development.
there are 3-4 points. Harishankar Jain ji wanted to counter you to say that this has happened in other states. He put his hand up. So allow me to just go back to Harishankar Jain ji, and then we'll also come back to some of the other points that you raised. But Harishankar Jain ji, yes, you are saying it's not just in UP, it has happened in other states also.
Yes, in Qutub Minar, I have filed petition in the Saket court that Qutub Minar was constructed after demolishing 27 Hindu and Jain temples. That petition is pending for additional decision Saket court. Number 2, in Bhojshala, Indore High Court, I have filed a petition that there is no Kamal Mola Mosque. It is a temple of Ma Saraswati, Vagdevi, Adhar, and which was demolished, which was captured by Muslims, saying the Kamalola Mosque at Indore. On 11th May 2022, the Honorable Indore High Court has admitted the petition. If you wrongly said, and I am going to file more than 10 petitions just within few days all over the country, in different parts of the country, including Rajasthan, Bihar, Tamil Nadu, etc.
So,
many places.
so there are many places
within
that so it's not limited. The other aspect, as I go across to Ishkaran Bhandari, Mazhar Sharif and Dr. Anand Ranganathan first up, sir, Ram Janmabhoomi is in Uttar Pradesh. At that time there was no Uttar Pradesh, but Ram Janmabhoomi is only one. There's only one place where Ram Lala was born. The birthplace is only one place. You can't be born in 10 different places. Krishna Janmabhoomi is only in one place, and Krishna was born in what is Mathura today, so there can be only one Krishna Janmabhoomi. The same way, Kashi dates back to 10,000 years. In the Rig Veda, there is a mention of Kashi. So Adi Vishweshwar can be seated only
Yes.
in one place. He cannot be in 10 different places. There can be 10 different Shiva temples, but there is only one Kashi and there is only one Adi Vishweshwar, and that place is called Gyanvapi. Sir, the word Gyanvapi itself means that there is a well of where around which there is knowledge, well of knowledge.
Yes.
Now Gyanvapi itself is a Sanskrit Hindu name, sir. It comes from our scriptures. It's got nothing to do with Islam. So the moment a place is called a Gyanvapi Mosque, that name itself should signal that kuch to gadbad hai yahan par. The other part, sir, the suit will be filed for where the deity is, not where the state is. So it's not state specific, Ahmad Ayaz Sahab. And more importantly, the Allahabad High Court has said the Places of Worship Act 1991 does not apply to Gyanvapi, sir. So that's what the court has said. Most important fact, it does not apply to Gyanvapi Parisar. That is what is important. Nobody is disrespecting the Places of the Worship Act. The court is saying, and Hari Shankar Jain ji filed this plea even before the BJP was anywhere in power. Dr. Anand Ranganathan.
Good evening, Anand. First up, till very recently, I used to think that, our Kul Devi, Mannapulli Kavu Bhagwati, was the embodiment of the glorious Hindu civilization. I might have changed my mind. I pay my humble respect to Hari Jain ji and his son Vishnu Jain. I think they are the living embodiments of our Hindu civilization, and if it survives, if our civilization survives, it would be no small measure because of the father and the son. So thank you so much, Hari Jain ji and Vishnu Jain, who's not there, for doing what you are doing. Is just simply phenomenal. This nation owes a huge debt to both of you. As far as the topic itself is concerned, let me be very direct out here, because I think enough water has flown down the Ganges. Anand, washing your dirty feet at the most sacred of places for Hindus does not change Gyanvapi's religious character. It just exposes your character. If the holiest shrine of some other religion was demolished and people of another faith stomped their dirty feet on the sacred relics as they walked inside the place of worship and washed their dirty feet, this country would have witnessed a civil war. But Hindus have been conditioned to take humiliation, to suffer airbrushing of their history. Anand, remember this. You can airbrush history, but you can't airbrush a civilization. Aurangzeb tried to, but our ancestors foiled his plan. It is beyond any doubt, in fact, written in the most authentic biography of Aurangzeb, Masir-e-Alamgiri, that in 1669, on orders of Aurangzeb, the Kashi Vishwanath temple was demolished. The Farman is also archived in Bikaner archives. And here is Sir Jadunath Sarkar's translation of Masir-e-Alamgiri, page 52, quote, Aurangzeb, eager to establish Islam, issued orders to the governors of all the provinces to demolish the schools and temples of the infidels, and with the utmost urgency put down the teachings and the public practice of the religion of these misbelievers, unquote. And yet, there are those who deny the Hindus their legitimate right to correct historical injustice. What else is civilization, I ask you? And principal among them are our legislature and the judiciary. To me, one of the most barbaric legislations ever enacted in India, Anand, is the 1991 Place of Worship Act. But in 2019, the virtue signaling Supreme Court in its Ayodhya judgment willfully ratified the act that obligates maintaining all religious places as they were on August 15, 1947. A legal recourse to correct historical injustice cannot be denied in a democracy, but it is. The Supreme Court said that the Places of Worship Act speaks to our history and to the future of the nation. Wrong. This law airbrushes our history and destroys our future. Now let me expose the victimhood peddling charlatans completely. Anand, I'll take a minute. I welcome the court judgment that says the Place of Worship Act does not bar the maintainability of the Hindu case to reclaim Gyanvapi. This had to happen. One, as the Hindus have been worshipping Ma Shringar Gauri inside the so-called Gyanvapi Mosque almost every day before 1993 and once a year after 1993 when the government prohibited them. Religious character of the Gyanvapi structure is therefore always been Hindu. But there is more. Number two, a little distance away from Ma Gauri is the wuzu, where Muslims have been washing their dirty feet. In this wuzu was discovered the shivling that Muslims claim is a fountain. Number three, a little distance away is the Vyas Parivar Tehkana. The Vyas Parivar was worshipping in that cellar till November 1993, when, ironically, in grave violation of Section 3 of the Place of Worship Act itself, the Mulayam Singh government threw out the Vyas Parivar from their own cellar. Did the religious character of the place not change then? Because the Hindus for it changed, nothing can be happen then. Number four, further violations of Place of Worship Act were committed against Hindus again. The chopping of the sacred people tree, the removal of the Ganesh idol, the removal of the Hanuman idol, the removal of many shivlings from that enclosed atmosphere. But it is the Hindus who have been taught that they are violating the Place of Worship Act by changing the religious character of mosque. Anand, nations weaken not because of their past, but rather by how they are taught it. For 70 years, we've been taught to forget historical injustices, from Somnath to Kashi Vishwanath, Babarpur to Bakhtiarpur, Allahabad to Aurangabad, from Martan to Mathura. These injustices have deliberately been made visible, as though to lionize the debasement, celebrate the humiliation. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Mazhar Sharif, thank you for your patience, and then I'll come to Ishkaran Bhandari. I will not interrupt you, Mazhar Sharif. Your point, please. The court has made a very strong observation. Does this clear the decks for the ASI report to be made public in the interest of both the Muslim side and the Hindu side? Because scientifically it will be determined what the actual religious character of that place is.
Hi Anand. See, first of all, let me come in this way. The Place of Worship Act was made it in 1947. Then laterly it was altered in 1991. So now when there is an act, so why the act was provided by the parliament? There was a need, because when the partition happened, at that point of the time, everybody knew there are Hindus, there are Muslims, there are religious places across both the side. So not to disturb the communal harmony, so this act was brought in. Now today if you're standing and you're proudly saying that it was scientifically it has to prove, there are a lot of things, you dig it anywhere, you get any stone there today. Not only Gyanvapi, any part of the world, any part of the India today, because India has a 5,000 year history. There was a lot of idols. So tomorrow you come to my home and you will say that you have some idol here and we have to construct a temple here. So should I leave my place?
Yes.
See, keep it very simple. Let us keep it simple. Let us keep it simple. The act of the Worship Act was there. Place of Worship Act is there. Why it was been made? Why it was been made? Just because not to have this kind of a situations. Now the situation where the High Court should have not been allowed this. First of all, we reject this. Means I wholly reject this, because see, once we have got a pain. Where on the sentimental basis, what happened in Ayodhya? Ayodhya, you didn't got anything. Survey was done there also. Even the judgment is there. In judgment, is there anything scientifically has been proved? Then if you are scientifically, if you want to prove Gyanvapi, then go back to Ayodhya also. And try and get that scientific research on there also.
But
get ISS certificate there also.
Yes,
then you have to justify. If you're talking about justice, that two places should not be there. Two places of worship, it is not be there. It has happened hundreds of years back. So nothing. Now the country is, that time what ruler were there, what he did. I don't want to get into the history now. So the basic thing is, today the country is a secular country.
Why not?
Our constitution is talk about secularism. And this place is a masjid today, and it has been there from hundreds of years. It is not just, it has been built after 47 or after 91. So it has to be, it has to be why the parliament has passed this, why the present government was sitting idle from last 9 years. They should have been brought in, they should have brought something parliamentary. No, now somebody has put a case, somebody is putting in, you guys are saying proudly now that somebody has fighted for 40 years just because, and somebody is saying that, we are washing our dirty feet. What does that mean, now?
No, okay.
You think that our feet are dirty?
Let me ask you. No, it's not communalizing.
Please.
No, my simple. No, one minute, Anandji. Ishkaran also wants to respond, so let him also respond. My simple question to you, sir, is, Wuzu means that you have to clean your hand and feet, and you have to do an act of cleansing.
It's not dirty.
No.
It's not dirty.
One minute.
Before
you go in to do your prayer. But if people are doing their act of cleansing themselves, that is washing their hand and feet, whether dirty or not, at a place where historically there is a shivling there kept, which is the seat or which is a matter of astha for millions of their own brethren of their own country, brothers and sisters of their own country. What kind of a mind? One minute. One minute, Mazharji. I am asking you, what does that reflect in the thought process, mindset and attitude of those people who believe that there may be a shivling there, it may be a matter of astha for our own Hindu brothers and sisters of our own country, but we don't care because we will continue to wash our hand and feet there. What kind of a mindset does that represent or reflect, sir? Is that a secular, inclusive mindset, or is that a thought continuum of the very same Aurangzeb who destroyed that temple and built a masjid there? I leave you to chew on that question for a bit. Let Ishkaran Bhandari respond. Ishkaran Bhandari, you wanted to respond to Mazhar some other points. Yeah.
Anand, it was painful and required an act of discipline to keep quiet while so many erroneous statements were being made, either because of ignorance of law or because of deliberate attempt to do so. I didn't interrupt, so please don't interrupt me now when I start exposing one by one the statements which were absolutely false which were made. Firstly, on principle, if you dig all over India and you will find more murtis, then it is a perfect case why 500 or 700 more cases need to be found, because every mandir destroyed needs to be restored. Once a mandir, always a mandir. The volume or the number of cases will not determine that a perpetrator of violence can succeed on his violence, can erase or try to erase a civilization by saying you cannot dig 50 or 500 places. Each and every instance of injustice has to be corrected. That is the law in any democracy. That is the law in any civilization, period. Now let me come to the facts. Very conveniently, it's being said that Places of Worship Act was made for a purpose to stop this, basically to stop Hindus from going to court and claiming their right, even if they have evidence, even if they have documents. So firstly, if while Congress was in power, you were such poor draftsmen that you could, with all your intent to prevent Hindus from going to court, draft a shoddy piece of legislation which the High Court says did not cover this situation, then do not believe the lawyer. And all respects to Mr. Jain, he's doing a tremendous job. Everybody owes him a debt of gratitude, who went to the court and the Allahabad High Court ruled that it does not cover it. Accept it. The second aspect, why is this happening in Uttar Pradesh? Bhaiya, it is not an order by the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, it's a court order. So whether it is Uttar Pradesh or Madhya Pradesh is absolutely irrelevant. How does the government come into this? But as I said, so many errors, I can't keep counting them. The third aspect of it is that every mandir, once you are going to the court and you are fighting that an ASI survey not come out, the court has categorically ruled, not only in that case, but in any other case it's required, a further ASI survey can be ordered. And by today's order of High Court, implicitly and explicitly, it's clear that the ASI report has to be public, because it has to be used in other cases also, like any scientific report has to be used. And lastly, let me just say this, stop all these stalling tactics, because the court has also stalled it. I was in the Ram Mandir case when an attempt was made that the case not be heard till 2019. The reason was this, because if the government changes, then a government comes and says Bhagwan Ram was a myth. There is no historical proof. We have had those affidavits filed. So probably that is the reason they keep trying to stall, and they're still trying to stall it till 2024. But the court has been categorical. 25 years the stay order lasted. Now decide this in 6 months. They should come to terms with it and stop trying to create needless arguments or erroneous arguments.
Ji. Harishankar Jain ji, coming to you, sir, in just a bit. But Anand Ranganathan has been raising his hand. So yes, Anand, a minute to you.
No, I've been raising it, and I thank Ishkaran, because like Ishkaran, it really required me being a believer in ahimsa, not to interrupt my good friend Mazhar Sharif. I hope he doesn't mind by saying so. He's been very genial at putting across his points that I vehemently disagree with on 3 or 4 things. Number one, please stop thinking this as a Hindu-Muslim issue. I know what Naipaul said, please go and read. And this is the problem with conversions. You forget fighting for the justice of your ancestors. So Mr. Mazhar doesn't think of this as a civilizational cause at all. For him, civilization is something more eastward. Nonetheless, having said this, the issue is, if a mosque had been demolished by a Hindu king and he had built a temple over it, does Mr. Mazhar Sharif not feel that Muslims had a legitimate right to approach the court to get their mosque back? I challenge him to say no. Let the mosque remain a temple where people would go and worship, and Muslims will not be allowed to reclaim that mosque. He will not say that. But the holiest of places of Hindus have been taken over. The records of the emperor himself says that yes, I destroyed it. There are idols that have been taken away and put on the steps of Gyanvapi Mosque so that Muslims going into the mosque trod over those Hindu temples. Such is the humiliation. And our own Muslim brothers do not feel embarrassed and ashamed that this was done in this sacred land. This is the issue out here. That is why I believe, and I'm saying this very bluntly, Anand, with facts, that Muslims will not yield an inch. They will not. You remember when for Ganesh Chaturthi in Karnataka, the Hindus just asked for one day Waqf land to celebrate. The Muslims said refused it. So that is why the reason is we have to go to the courts, because ultimately everyone in India has to believe in the court verdict. So there's all this.
So the rule of law
is complete nonsense. Rule of law has to prevail. If the Muslims agree or don't agree, as Mr. Mazar Sharif wrongly says.
So who's actually making it? Who's actually making?
Based on scientific evidence at all. Of course it was. The ASI report categorically states, and I said, made 10 points just 2 days ago in Rahul's show, Anand. 10 points. That underneath the Babri Mosque was a temple of Hindu origin. Now, if Mr. Sharif doesn't want to believe what ASI said, Supreme Court said, so that's why I'm saying it is not up to the Muslims to believe or not believe Hindus. Hindus have to have a legitimate reason to go to the court, and they must be allowed to.
Mazar Sharif, quick response. Mazar Sharif, quick response.
Anand, 10 seconds, please.
I would like to answer Mr. Ranganathan. Sir, let me tell you one thing. About two things what he said about, if any masjid has been demolished and there is a temple is built, if my answer would be yes or no. See, if I have to believe on the law of the land today, the law of the land and the parliament, which is we all believe on it, okay. So once it has been decided under the act of worship, place of worship act. So once it is decided, I cannot do anything. So my sentiment is there. So, whether it is Gyanvapi Masjid or it is
correct. But
let me tell you.
Let him complete.
Let me complete. If it is happen, of course, definitely, I can say this. We will also stand for that, and we will say that it is happened now. Now you cannot change it. You have to believe on your constitution. You have to believe on your law of your land. And coming to second point. Let me tell you. He quoted Karnataka issue. If it was any other religious act, because in Muslim we don't believe in idol worship. So it is just because of that. Other than any other program of religious program would have been happened there, they would have been allowed. No, but now it is just you are taking only one thing. If you are talking today, what it has been sent. Let me just give me 1 minute, please, Mr. Anand. Just give me 1 minute. Now he is talking about Aurangzeb, what he has attacked on the temples. Doesn't matter to me now, because today, if somebody is attacking, I can stand for that. If anybody attacking in a temple, I'll the first person to stand. Now, similarly, Marathas used to be in Karnataka. Marathas used to come and attack temples, because those days the culture is people used to keep treasure in the temples.
It is. Sir, I'll tell you.
If it is done,
sir, here is the difference. Mazar Sharif, I think a lot of us will disagree with the argument that you are making, sir, because one. At that time, the fight was for temple.
Maybe, sir.
1 minute. Hear me, sir. At that time, it was not the supremacy or a fight of establishing the supremacy of one religious belief over another. It was about temple wealth, and never was the deity desecrated or never was the deity disturbed. Yes, there was loot and plundering of the temples, which was wrong, and I think there was apology also. No, 1 minute, sir. Here in this case, please inside, please, sir. If you have gone there to Gyanvapi, sir, you will see that the plinth itself, even at Krishna Janmabhoomi, the core plinth is of the mandir. It's the same extending wall on which the structure of the mosque has been built. And for 70 years, generations have come there and decided to pray, even though knowing fully well that even the Quran does not permit it, sir. Your religious scripture does not permit you to go and offer prayer at a place which has been built over another religious character or another religious building. That's the tenets. Those tenets have been, and I am quoting the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court in the Ram Janmabhoomi case, where they said that the structure itself and prayer itself is un-Islamic because Islam does not allow it. And the judges came to this conclusion after consulting Muslim scholars and also also the text. So please, I am stating facts here, and this is the reason why I asked you, sir, what is the mindset of those people who are not willing to give and respect the astha of their own country, fellow country brothers and sisters, Hindu brothers and sisters. What mindset does that represent? Is this not a continuum of the same thought that says that my faith above yours, and I will continue to sit on those places that are dear to you because I'll continue to hold on to you? This is the question many people are asking. I'm just going to quickly extend the same debate, but just change this dynamic a little more and add another aspect to it. Please, I'll come back to all of you. Harishankar Jainji, if you have the time, I'd request you to also stay on with us. Thank you for your patience, sir. My question also is that in this case, and we'll just go back to our guest straight away. We just put out the question. The question is, this POW Act, Places of Worship Act, or the Act